Hello everyone and welcome to our annual general meeting for 2023, happening in 2024 as it happens. Great to see so many members online. My name is Kieran Robson-Renner. I am the Watt Club President 2023 to 2025. Some background about myself. I graduated from Heriot Watt on the Edinburgh campus in 2018 with a degree in biological sciences focusing on human health. I then went on to be Vice President and then President of the Student Union, and I now work as part of the academic quality team at Heriot Watt University. So I arrived in 2014 and never left because it's so good, as I'm sure you can all agree. Just to give you a short rundown of the evening, first up we'll have a welcome and update from Professor Richard Williams, our Vice Chancellor and Principal. Then we'll then move on to hear from two of our amazing colleagues in the Development Alumni Office before a question and answer session with all three. If you do have any questions for them, please do pop them into the question and answer section down the right hand side of your screen, and we'll put them to them after all three have spoken. We'll then move on to a quick update from myself on behalf of the council and a few of our branches around the world before moving on to the three items that we require a vote on this evening. If you do need to leave before around 6:45 UK time this evening, please do still vote. We'll pop the voting link in the Q&A section, so you've got it, and you should have seen all the papers that were sent out to you in the reminder yesterday. So please do have a look through them and cast your vote. Please note the stream is 60 to 90 seconds behind, so right now I am speaking to you from the future, so bear that in mind. There will be a lag when you're submitting questions, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible, and we may not have time to answer them all. So without further ado, I am going to pass over to Professor Richard Williams, Vice Chancellor and Principal of Heriot Watt University. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Kieran. And could I just say what a pleasure it is to welcome everybody to this Watt Club AGM. Well, we're still in January, so it's never is it too late to continue to wish you a happy new year. So sincerely a happy new year to everyone here today. The university has enjoyed a very productive time in the last year, and it's continued with your assistance to grow our reputation and our impact. And two of the significant events that stick in my mind over the last year have been these. First of all, our rise in the QS rankings, the research rankings, where we went up to being 235th in the world, which is a great thing for us. And secondly, at the end of last year, we participated very strongly in the COP28 processes in Dubai, where we ran a major climate change hub, which attracted industry, governments, and also King Charles and Lord Cameron, the Foreign Secretary, and Humza Yousaf, the Scottish First Minister, who all came along and participated in our event. So it was a really fantastic way to end the year. King Charles also opened a relatively new campus in Dubai. We've been there 19 years, but we had a campus that's now 2 years old that he formally opened. So it was a great occasion and acknowledgement of the university's role in the whole international education sphere. Well, during the year, I was also very pleased to have a chance to connect with many alumni and some of the Watt Club members, indeed some who are probably joining us tonight. I had opportunity to have meetings in Lusaka in Zambia, in Hong Kong, in Kuala Lumpur, in Singapore, in China, in Norway, in Oslo, in Houston, and in New York. And I'm very grateful for several alumni who gave me advice and, of course, a very warm welcome. And I'm looking forward to have the opportunity to meet many more alumni in the year ahead. But on to today. Today's an important meeting and significant, I think, for two reasons in my mind. The first is we're going to have, you'll be aware of some proposals to make some changes which I believe will make even more effective the Watt Club, so I commend those to you. And also, of course, this year marks the opening of the year where later on in the year we're going to be launching our campaign to engage with alumni and to develop the university further through its contacts and through its fundraising. So it's going to be a really significant year for us all, and I so much look forward to participating with you as we together grow the reputation and the opportunity for others in our fantastic university. So that's all I have to say for now. I certainly welcome your questions, and I will pass back to Kieran.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. And once again, thank you to you and university executive colleagues for your unwavering support of the Watt Club and our network of alumni and their endeavours around the world. So thank you very much. I'm now going to pass it over to our colleague Paul. So Paul Stevenson is the head of development alumni. He's a very experienced fundraiser, having worked in development for 25 years. Paul joined the university to lead our development team in 2022 and has had a transformative impact on the team. And after we hear from Paul, we'll swiftly move on to our Heriot Watt campaign director, Ruth O'Hanlon. Ruth also joined us back in 2022 to help launch the fundraising campaign that will see us achieve our ambitions in research and student support over the coming years. Over to you, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Kieran, for those kind words. Good morning, afternoon and evening, everyone. As stated, I am Paul Stevenson, the head of development and alumni at Heriot Watt University. It is a privilege to have the opportunity to address you today and to speak about why this is such an exciting time to be part of the Heriot Watt global community. Could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. At the heart of our activity is the purpose to create and maintain relationships of mutual success. For alumni engagement, we focus primarily on our diverse global community of alumni and look for opportunities to support their lifelong success while strengthening our reach and reputation as an institution. To ensure that we are effectively serving the vast network, our alumni engagement strategy is carefully balanced with our resource capability. Could I have the next slide, please? This year, we have expanded the size of the Development and Alumni Office, or DAO, and established a more robust infrastructure to help us achieve our strategic objectives, as well as provide support for the upcoming major campaign. Our alumni engagement team comprises 7 full-time roles, filled by 8 team members. 7 colleagues are based in Edinburgh, and 1 is based in Dubai. They are supported by colleagues in the wider DAO team, which has grown this year to include 7 in development and 9 in development services. With the annual growth of our alumni community and a relatively small team responsible for engaging with such a significant and large stakeholder community, it's fundamental that we establish an enhanced approach and communications program to maximise our reach and engagement. This will be especially important in the coming months as we prepare to launch the major campaign for the university, which we will hear more about later in this session. Over the past few years, our alumni team has made great strides in re-establishing relationships with our alumni and recent graduates. This year, we are proud to report that we have a 41%. That 41%, that's 66,000 alumni in which are contactable. Our contactable alumni are engaged with the university, which is an increase of 11% since 2017 when we first started to monitor this activity. This figure excludes the high level of engagement we see on our alumni social media channels, as well as the engagement our alumni team have with other parts of the university. Could I have the next slide, please? So, beg your pardon. Before we look ahead, sorry, I think I've gone one slide too far. Brilliant, thank you. Thanks, Kieran. Before we look ahead at our strategic approach and activity for 2024, I would like to share with you some of our alumni engagement highlights from 2023. I already mentioned that we have a total engagement score, which is at 41%, but we've also hosted and supported over 30 alumni events this year. Number of events registration that we have been over 1,900. We've delivered 210 email campaigns, and that's had an open rate of 27.1%. So over a quarter of our alumni are actually reading our communications and engaged in these. Our social media engagement in the last 6 months have increased across the board. Instagram is up 46%, Facebook is up 27%, Twitter 58%, and LinkedIn 86%. Instagram and LinkedIn have the largest follower growth month on month, with LinkedIn gaining 751 followers in the last 6 months. Could I have the next slide, please? I mentioned that we hosted and supported over 30 alumni events across the world in 2023. So here is a quick snapshot of some of these events and the ongoing alumni engagement we continue to deliver online and in person, including events in Zambia, London, Edinburgh, New York, Houston, Dubai, Malaysia, Norway, China, Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Could I have the next slide, please? Plus our summer and winter graduations across all campuses. We were excited to connect with so many members of our global alumni community, giving you the opportunity to engage with your fellow alumni and learn about the exciting developments and fantastic research going on at Heriot-Watt. Beg your pardon. Our new annual alumni magazine, The Watt, was issued in November 2023. This year's digital edition shines a light on the many areas of the university, together with the latest news from all campuses in Edinburgh, Orkney, Scottish Borders, Dubai, Malaysia. Since it was issued, the magazine received 2,064 unique visitors and an overall figure of 2,898 magazine visits. We hope you enjoyed this year's edition and that it shows you the different ways that you can get involved in the excited work happening at Heriot-Watt University. Could I have the next slide, please? Now, over the past year, we've worked closely with the Watt Club Council to undertake a more strategic role in alumni engagement. To better understand the requirements of our alumni, the Watt Club Council has agreed and supported our intention to provide our Watt Club branches with greater access to their local alumni community base. This will enhance direct engagement with alumni and facilitate increased membership and vibrancy within the alumni Watt Club branches. Could I have the next slide, please? So to continue and advance our success from 2023, we need your help. Our alumni are our most loyal supporters and our advocates who embody our values, inspire our current student and recent graduates, and influence our impact in the world. As such, your involvement in the Watt Club, your involvement in the Watt Club is instrumental to our continued success in 2023 and beyond. You are our early year graduates whose employment destinations facilitate our league table position and enhance the reputation of the university. You are our mid-career graduates whose career progression and continued professional development to postgraduate courses facilitates our recruitment and helps drive university revenue. You are our late career graduates whose engagements as guest lecturers, senior volunteers on advisory boards, corporate partners, investors in graduate incubator hubs have helped drive innovation, enterprise, and the university's research capabilities. And finally, you are our donors whose generosity has helped remove financial barriers and enable students from disadvantaged backgrounds to go to university. Now, I realise that this is a crude segmentation of our One Watt family. In truth, our alumni are not clusters, but rather a collective of individuals who share a common link through the Heriot Watt education and share our values of belonging and our commitment to making the world a better place. Together, we can make demonstrable impact that facilitate change for the betterment of society on a local, regional, national, and global level. Could I have the next slide, please? As we progress into 2024, our objectives and outputs will be carefully aligned within 5 pillars which guide us to: 1, enhance the reputation of Heriot Watt University through alumni advocacy. 2, support lifelong career success for alumni. 3 is to deliver valuable alumni offerings. 4, ensure alumni have capacity and desire to give back. And finally, 5th, strengthen the feeling of belonging to Heriot Watt University. Could I have the next slide, please? To do this effectively, we need to better understand our alumni and the increasingly diverse global community that you are. We know that you are a dynamic and changing alumni demographic. So understanding how you wish to communicate with us, what your areas of interest are, and how we might best support and work in partnership with you are all primary, is the primary focus of the office. That's why we continue to need your input to ensure that we are that you are helping to shape the future of Heriot Watt. Our 2 main objectives this year is to capture your input and increase your engagement. Will be 1, to conduct another alumni survey, and 2, to drive our digital presence to better engage our alumni and highlight your accomplishments. The insights from the last alumni survey conducted in 2022 provide invaluable for our strategic planning and led to an increase in social media engagement. So by conducting another survey this year, we hope to gain a better understanding of the motivations of our alumni audience so that we can ensure we are providing you with the type of services that honour your lifelong membership in our community and are of genuine benefit to you. Similarly, we hope to open more ways for you to connect with the university by driving our digital presence. In 2024, we will create more opportunities for extra interaction on our website, social media channels, quarterly newsletters, and other publications to make you feel like you are back on campus and fully updated on what the community is up to. We've seen the success of this approach already through the annual Watt magazine, which by its new interactive format has actually increased readership and engagement by offering new content and formats such as video and blogs. Plus the refresh of our quarterly newsletter, employing the feedback to provide us with across all of these channels. We will curate our content to ensure that we deliver news and information on subjects that matter most to you. Can I have the next slide, please? So in 2024, we are excited to be delivering global events in person and online, and these events will be included here. I'll just let you digest those, and these are reunions that are taking place across the globe. In addition to these alumni events, there will also be exploring opportunities in Indonesia, China, and some other locations. Could I just have the next slide, please? So I'd like to talk a little bit more about the Global Watt Day, which we'll celebrate tomorrow. Each year, on the 19th of January, the anniversary of the birth of James Watt, we encourage our alumni and wider community across the world to take part in #Global Watt Day, to come together and celebrate the inspirational global community we belong to. You can get involved by following on social media channels and sharing your favourite Harriet Watt moment. We'll be getting you started by sharing our highlight reel from 2023, filled with images and footage from the global events we have delivered in person and online. We were excited to connect with so many members of our Watt Club community, or our One Watt community, and we hope you will join together tomorrow and toast to our long heritage. Can I have the next slide, please? So I didn't want to finish without just giving a reminder that as a member of the Watt Club, you have access to a variety of benefits, including careers advice, discounts on future study, access to the latest news and events, plus opportunities to collaborate, mentor, employ, and inspire. You can find out all information and contact details by visiting our alumni web pages. The link will be provided for you. To finish, I'd like to thank you for listening and engaging. And please remember, no matter how you give back to the university, your contributions have enabled us to progress in our mission and to honour our heritage, to benefit and shape society by making a world-class education accessible and inclusive. We're excited by the momentum your support has created and the potential it has unlocked for the future. Please get in touch with our development and alumni team to learn how you can make your impact today. I would now like to pass on to Ruth Hanlon, who's our campaign director, who will provide an update on the bicentennial fundraising campaign.
Thank you so much, Paul. In the role of Harriet Watt's campaign director, which I've been enjoying since about mid-2022, there are few events I enjoy more than a get-together with Harriet Watt alumni around the world. And as I listen to Paul's description of you as advocates and ambassadors who embody and shape our values of belonging and our commitment to creating a better future world, and as those who inspire others towards influence and positive impact, I'm reminded again as to why Harriet Watt alumni are so inspiring and purposeful. It's because I think I'm reminded again by our origin story, the DNA, if you will, of our university. I imagine a time back in 1821 at the height of the Scottish Enlightenment when a couple of friends, leaders in their fields of business and technology of the day, they met to discuss the challenges that they were facing. Leonard Horner, a linen merchant, geologist, and social reformer, and Robert Bryson, one of Scotland's finest clockmakers, met together in the clock shop on Edinburgh's South Bridge to shoot the breeze, to complain about the lack of skills the workforce needed for the new economy, and a lack of accessible and affordable education for those who wanted it. But they didn't stop at complaining about the problems, however. They came up with a plan to solve the problems. Their idea was to upskill the workforce, to provide evening classes in mathematics and mechanics at affordable rates, and critically, to enlist the help of wealthy and influential citizens to bring their idea into being. That was our antecedent institution, the world's first mechanics institute. That was when it was born. So friends got together. They identified the issue of the day that impacted their community, their businesses, their society. They came up with a solution and they enlisted the help of others. Let's put the next slide on. Harriet Watt's Shaping Futures campaign, which we will launch later this year, is a number of prescient, purpose-driven initiatives by which the university is addressing the issues of our day that are shaping our future, shaping the generations to come and how they will live life on this planet. Our initiatives are answering questions of the issues of the day, like things like, how will we go forward emitting less carbon than the planet can consume? What machines do we need to relieve the burden of difficult, exhausting, and dangerous jobs for humans? How do we shape a workforce of civic-minded, civic-hearted people who are driven by purpose, positive purpose, and have the skills needed in sustainable medical technology, business, manufacturing, and the energy sectors? How do we grow food where arable land and water are scarce resources? How are we to sustainably finance enlightened thinking and research for future global and ethical economies? We're living in a time of great challenges and great opportunities to benefit societies in the ways that we are qualified and experienced to do. And therefore, we're coming into a time where we will again look to our friends of influence and wealth for help. You, as Heriot Watts alumni, can have an enormous impact by doing things like providing access to a world-class education. Because why? Because scholarships shape futures. Funding Heriot Watts' 4 frontier global research institutes in healthcare technologies, human-centered AI and robotics, marine and earth sciences, global sustainability in delivering a global beyond net zero society. Research shapes the future. Technical solutions to wicked problems shape the future. You can be involved in investing in infrastructure for teaching and research and student life. We're building a net zero community hub, a new centre for research and education in sustainable brewing and distilling, a new centre for research and education in sustainable energy and manufacturing, an outdoor forum for music, art and drama. Physical spaces will shape our future. So please, when we come towards the end of the year, watch out for Heriot Watts' fundraising campaign as we launch. We know that together, with your help, we can shape the future. Thank you so much. And I think, Kieran, I'm going to hand back to you now, I think, to take us into a time of questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth, and thank you to Richard, Paul, and yourself for your remarks there. So yes, we're moving on to the question and answer session. I'm just going to. Okay, so the first question I'm actually going to field, if that's okay with you. So someone has asked, how does one get involved with the Watt Club initiative if not based in the UK? I think there's a lot of ways you can get involved in the Watt Club. Your best bet would be to contact the Development Alumni Office themselves. And Sharon, if you could maybe pop the email in the Q&A section there. The Development Alumni Office can actually help you find a branch close to you. If there's not one close to you, we can actually help support you in setting one up. So we can actually scan the region that you're in, see how many alumni are based there, and we can help you build your own branch if that is something that you'd be interested in. There's also, we'll come on to this slightly later when I talk about the Watt Club finances, money available to both branches and to anyone who wants to act in an ambassadorial capacity and kind of host an alumni event. There is money available through the Watt Club Council that you can access, and we can help support you in delivering an event wherever you live. If you keep an eye out in the newsletter, which I think has already been linked in the Q&A, we do post kind of opportunities to get involved with the wider Watt Club. And again, later on, we'll talk slightly about talk in depth, about the constitutional changes that we're proposing, and that is essentially to provide more opportunities for people like yourself who are obviously very engaged and want to be more engaged, to get involved with Watt Club and the Watt Club Council at a kind of more strategic level. So do keep an eye out on the website and on the social medias, including, as Paul mentioned earlier, LinkedIn, which is very rapidly becoming a really vibrant Heriot Watt University alumni community, and can also help connect you into our current students as well. Next question is a suggestion, which I'll pose to everyone. A suggestion to create a podcast for Heriot Watt alumni. So we'll keep that in mind. We'll take that away. I'll discuss that at the next council meeting. We'll see what we can do with that. That sounds like a really interesting idea there. So we'll take that away and think it over. We've actually got a question here for Richard. So Richard, what is Heriot Watt doing to create a global impact through research? Quite a broad question, but I'll let you take that.
Yes, thank you. Of course, many of the areas that we've worked in during the last, well, over 200 years have been about transforming society. The things we've done in energy, the things we've done in optics, the way that we've talked about how we do business differently, and really shaping the future is the business that we're in. Over the last 2 years, we've been on a journey to further develop the idea of identifying areas of challenge where the world is seeking solutions. We started this by creating the Lars Centre, which became known as a Global Research Institute, where we were addressing challenges that the world has, where it's looking for talent and ideas and solutions in marine and geosciences. And we've now continued that model by developing over the last 2 years other global research institutes, and Ruth alluded to these earlier, in robotics and in AI and in net zero, and also soon to launch in healthcare engineering. So we've done this because we recognize that the best way we can have impact in the future actually is to do what we're best at, which is to address research often in a very interdisciplinary basis and bring together the skills that we have in our different research groups and use them to address challenge-based problems sometimes that the world's addressing with us. So through our global research institutes, we're creating a platform where we can work with partners, funding partners, and with industry and society, and really try and address some of these quite difficult problems that the world wants to solve. So really that's our pathway for the future, to actually bring our high quality researchers and research working with partners to address big challenge areas. And I think in the future we're going to be using this to even further develop our reputation as a university. We've always been pretty good, as you know, in working with industry and translating our ideas into practice. So really, to answer your question, that's our formula going forward, and we'd be very grateful to see what challenge areas we should be working on that can be directed through these global research institutes, which of course have an agenda that is truly global, which is very much commensurate with our own positioning as a global university that's based in different places around the world. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. Another question is off there. How can I stay in touch with my old classmates? Do you do reunions? I think, Paul, you'll take this one.
Thank you, Kieran. Yes, we absolutely can support reunions and our alumni who want to return onto campus. The best way is to get in contact with the Development Alumni Office. We can start by identifying where there are similar alumni of the same year, and we can help with getting that ball rolling with you, and also support with some of the reunion activities that you may need. So yes, please just come through to the DAO office and we'll help you with that one.
Great, thank you very much, Paul. And I will add to that that the council I mentioned before, that kind of ambassadorial fund, that is something the council will consider helping you fund as well if that was needed. Another question for you, I think, Paul. What is the scope of the net zero hub that was mentioned?
So the net zero hub is will be part of the campaign, and it is also about it will be a community hub where, as alumni, students, friends, and the local community, you can go to and can understand how you can reduce your footprint and reduce your and learn about the best ways to support your own sustainability and the environment. It will also be an opportunity for us to showcase some of the exciting research work that we are doing in this space. It's going to be a fantastic space on campus, but it will also be a virtual and a digital hub, so there will be an opportunity for people to engage in an interactive way. So if you're interested and you want to know more about the Net Zero Community Hub and find out our plans for that, please come directly through to me or to the DAO office, and I'll be able to take you through and show you our plans and development for where we're going with that. But it's going to be a fantastic a space on campus and for the wider reach and global community as well.
Thank you very much, Paul. And I know, Richard, the Net Zero Community Hub is a big passion of yours. You're very proud of it when you talk at our graduation ceremonies. Is there anything else you'd like to add to Paul's response there?
Yes, one of the things we've done as university is make 10 commitments going forward relating to our global sustainability. And one of those is very much how we should focus in supporting our current students, our staff and our alumni in getting to grips to understand how can we handle and best move forward in sustainability, which is a complex question. And we're all trying to learn this at the same time. I believe that one of the most potent ways of addressing climate change is by being better informed and through the decisions, the individual decisions that you and I will be making in our lives ahead. So I very much hope that the Net Zero Community Hub is not only a place we can come together and see what's going on, but a place where we can learn. And hopefully, as we go forward and raise funds and find finance, we will, as Paul said, be able to build a building that is going to be, at the moment, what might be the only truly net zero building in Scotland, as it happens, because there aren't any at the moment. But more importantly, it's going to have a digital twin so that wherever you are in the world, there it will be. The Net Zero Community Hub, where we can showcase what we're doing, where we can learn together, and where we can celebrate not only the research we're doing here at Heriot-Watt and understand its impacts, potential impact on the world, but we can learn ourselves, even perhaps about silly things, about how bits of technology work that we're almost too embarrassed to ask about, but also collectively look at how we can, working together, really address the climate change challenge in our different cultures. And I think understanding culture is really important as well, because some of the priorities that there may be here in the UK will not be the same as some of the priorities that there are in other nations. So I think it's awfully important that we as a informed, caring global community also understand the context for climate change so that we can do it in a just way, in an ethical way, and a way that will not be causing harm to different communities disproportionately. So I think it's a great learning opportunity for us all, and in fact something I hope that everyone will feel able to contribute and also tell friends about. Thanks, Kieran.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. Just checking the Q&A. I think you might all be off the hook now. Yes, we've had no other questions come through, so thank you very much again to all three of you for joining us this evening and giving your time up to talk to our members. Thank you very much. Gavin, I think you have the next slides. Perfect. Thank you very much, Gavin. And now on to an update from me. So I will be giving an update on behalf of the Watt Club Council and of any branches who have submitted their annual reports to us at this point in the year. So I'll go for the branch reports first. We've received reports from 3 of our branches, so that's Singapore, Norway, and Brewing and Distilling. So we do have 14 currently active branches around the world, and as I mentioned before, when someone asked about how to get involved, we are actively seeking for members who want to be engaged in setting up their own branch, and we can really help support you in doing that. So to take you through, I'm just going to pick out a couple of highlights from the reports, and we will circulate these reports either via email to you or up on the website after this meeting. Firstly, Singapore. So the Singapore branch were finally able to have their first in-person meeting and event since the pandemic, which to much greater success than anticipated. They've had some really good engagement from members on the ground there. They've returned to their annual overseas trips. They visited Batam in Indonesia and are now planning a trip to Sarawak in Malaysia in March this year, which is great. They've also been supporting some global outreach events, the Scotland Food and Drink Festival and the Global Scots Singapore and Scotland Alumni Dinner, again greatly attended by alumni members across in Singapore. In Norway, the Norway branch have continued their excellent work with the British Norwegian Chamber of Commerce, co-hosting 6 very well attended events on everything from artificial intelligence to Premier League football. They've also hosted their very first standalone Watt Club Norway event this year, which was an alumni breakfast. So congratulations to the guys in Norway. And Brewing and Distilling branch is our only sector-based branch who have excellent engagement with both alumni and current students. This year, their famous, or should I say infamous, alumni dinner was attended by 83 different guests, including 37 current students, which is great to see that they've got engagement from both sides. We do have a really good kind of connection in with them as well. So congratulations to the Brewing and Distilling branch for their engagement this year. And thank you very much to all 3 branches for their reports. All right, Gavin, on to the next, and I'll turn my page. An update on behalf of the Watt Club Council. So much of this year, as you've probably seen by the papers that went round, has been spent workshopping constitutional changes. And firstly, I want to give my thanks to all of the members of council, those who are currently serving and those who stayed on slightly past the end of their tenure to help shape the future of the Watt Club Council and the wider Watt Club. We've met no less than 8 times this year instead of the usual quarterly meetings. So again, thank you very much for your time. Thanks must also go to Professor John Sawkins, who up until last year was the Deputy Principal for Learning and Teaching and more recently Deputy Principal for Education and Student Life, who has been a guiding hand through this whole process. He's really helped us and brought in his knowledge from his interactions with universities around the world and their alumni associations, and they've really helped us to understand what our alumni want and how we can make changes to enhance the Watt Club offering going forward. So thank you very much to John. And my final thanks is to the development alumni team, some of which are kind of in the background here that you can't see, but they really have supported us throughout this whole process this year. It has been a long, hard slog, but we are finally kind of, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the end by being able to present it to the AGM this evening. On to other highlights from this year. Back in October, you may have seen on the university social media that a kind of long-serving council member and kind of friend of Harriet Watt has Cameron Miller stepped back from his position as Deputy Chair of the University Court. Cameron has been on council for a number of years, has been involved in many different projects across the kind of university, both alumni and current students. And to celebrate that, we actually, as a council, repurposed one of our what are normally kind of academic endeavour awards, the Watt Club Medal. We repurposed that into an outstanding contribution award for Cameron, just to celebrate the kind of effort, time and love that he's put into helping us to build this really strong university community. And again, that was for his outstanding contribution to not just the alumni community, but to the community of current students as well. So thank you very much and congratulations to Cameron. Other work that we've done this year, we've been working very closely with the Development Alumni Office to support our Malaysia branch. There are some kind of legal loopholes and things that we've had to navigate in Malaysia. what constitutes a club and how clubs are financed is something that we'd never really come across when dealing with branches. So we've kind of looked at the statutory requirements, developed a funding strategy and worked closely with the DEO, who have kind of ensured that everything is above board, and our Malaysia branch can now operate free of charge for all members, which is really, really good to see. We've also been exploring data sharing agreements with branches, so allowing branches to access and be able to contact alumni in their local area, which should help support them in growing and building their foundation that they can then kind of take off into the future, which has been a really kind of rewarding pilot, and hopefully we can start to roll that out across the board. We've also, as I've kind of touched on at many points this evening, redeveloped our funding model away from being just for branches to actually being open to anyone who wishes to act as an ambassador for the Watt Club. We have, I'll touch on this slightly later, underspent for 3 years running the budget that we are given. So we've looked at who can access that funding. We've put new processes in place so ambassadors can use that funding. And if you would, anyone on the call like to request funding for an alumni event, you want to kind of get something up and started, please do get in touch with the email that Sharon put into the chat earlier. We do really want to be able to use that fund to help grow and develop the network and the alumni network and community across the globe, and we can help support you in that as well. On to the next slide, please, Gavin. So now on to the items for approval from members. So I think Sharon is going to put the voting link into the chat, hopefully. So there are 3 items that we need to vote on this evening. The first being the AGM minutes from the last AGM in December 2022, then onto the financial statements from 2022, 2023, and then onto the more substantial item, which is the constitutional enhancement proposals. Next slide, please, Gavin. So hopefully everyone has had a chance to look at the papers and look at the video recording of the AGM from last year. That video recording is taken obviously as an accurate representation for minutes' sake. There were no matters arising or actions to be taken forward noted. But if anyone does have anything that they think we have missed off, I will kind of wait for the next 60 seconds. And if you'd like to pop that in the chat, that would be helpful. If not, we'll move on to the next item. Perfect. There doesn't seem to be anything coming through there, and we've also had nothing kind of sent to us in advance. So if you would like to open up the form and vote on the AGM minutes, that would be really helpful, and we move on to the financial statements. So first we'll have a look at the financial statement for 22-23, and then we'll move on to the budget for this year to July. A bit of background, so the university does give us a subvention fund of £15,000, and that's obviously on top of the dedicated resource that the Development Alumni Office provide. And that £15,000, as I've mentioned at many points this evening, and you can tell I'm very keen that people do access this funding. That £15,000 is for branch and ambassador function and for the function of the Watt Club Council. As you'll see from there, and hopefully the papers that were circulated earlier, our biggest spend last year were the AGM and on engraving our medals. As I mentioned, there was a significant underspend by the end of the year, so we did use that to replenish the Watt Club medal stocks. We are stocked up, fingers crossed, until the end of 2025 now. There was obviously that lack of engagement in available branch funding, which caused that that underspend. And we also had no secretary last year. The secretary of the Watt Club historically was given a £1,500 stipend. There was no secretary, and I didn't take that either, given that I was kind of in that capacity de facto. So that money went back into replenishing the stock instead. Gavin, if you could move on to the next. Perfect. And this is just our budget for this year. So that we're currently in financial year will end in July. So this budget was put together based on the constitutional changes that are being proposed this evening taking effect. If not, we will revisit this. This removes that stipend for the secretary that I removed, and it also increases the availability of funding for branches and ambassadors, and increases money set aside to develop our awards offering for both current students and alumni, which is something that the council is very keen to explore this year. Again, I will wait 90 seconds. Unfortunately, we don't have any hold music. Gavin, if we can sort of hold music for next year, that would be lovely. I will wait kind of 60 to 90 seconds for any questions to come through. So we've had no questions come through, so I am going to move on to the next item. If you do have any questions on either of the items before, obviously you can still pop them into the chat, and I'll take them at the end of the items as well, and that's okay. So onto the more substantial kind of paper for this evening. Hopefully members have had time to kind of read this and think it through, but I thought I'd give you a bit of background to the paper, because obviously we've just received a track changes document, but I think the kind of history behind it is really important. So I've been on the Watt Club Council for 6 years now in different capacities, whether it's ex officio or elected. And throughout that whole time, the question has always been there. You know, my kind of colleagues on the council have always had the same, you know, what is the function of council, and what is our function as a member of the council? Myself and my predecessor, Mike Ross, who is actually in the room with me and can jump in at any point, had discussed at length before he kind of handed the ceremonial baton over to me, about how we could kind of develop into the future. And Mike has played a really pivotal role in these changes this year as well. So why do we need change? And as a Watt Club, it was, you know, there's this feeling that we're not kind of wholly fulfilling our mission. There's an underuse of engaged alumni, like everyone on this call this evening, and our council members, a disconnection between council and branches, and we can see that from, you know, tonight we only had 3 of the 14 branches submit reports. We've had a significant underspend for the last actually 5 years, and branches not accessing the funding, a disconnection between the Watt Club and its members. You know, we have 155,000 alumni around the world, and we have 30 engaged members on the call this evening. Low voter turnout in our elections. I was elected into this post on less than 100 votes, and engagement in the AGM, and not enough engagement between ourselves and the student representative bodies. That's the Student Union and Sports Union on the UK campuses, our Student Council in Dubai, and our Student Association in Malaysia, who do an amazing job on the ground with our current students, but we don't quite have enough engagement with them as a Watt Club. Gavin, on to the next slide, please. So what is our mission? I'll not kind of read what's on the screen here, but To achieve our mission within our constitution, we say that the club shall encourage and enlist support from the university. It shall enhance the student experience, recognise academic and other achievements through the award of the Watt Club medals and other prizes, and do honour to the memory of James Watt and its founders of Heriot-Watt University and its legacy. And we do all of that to a degree, but maybe it's not quite as much as we need to, especially that kind of part B about enhancing the student experience. That link isn't quite there yet. So we wanted to kind of develop a new constitution, a new structure of the Watt Club that helped us to kind of really deliver on our mission. Gavin, on to the next slide, please. This is a quick look at the remit of the Watt Club Council within the Constitution, which you've hopefully all read. And this is just picking out a few of the key areas where we, as a council and other members of the university community who've been involved in this process, felt that we weren't quite hitting the nail on the head. So I touched earlier just there on not quite achieving the mission that we're setting out to achieve. We do a really good job of maintaining the Watt Club, but possibly not developing it further. We still haven't quite got the kind of branches element of this right. We do promote the club and its benefits to our alumni, but not to our current students who will very soon become alumni. We do provide voluntary support to the university as a council, but we don't actually bring in members of our alumni community well enough to help us kind of achieve that part of our remit. And again, we do have a presence at graduation ceremonies, but other university events, the Watt Club could be a lot more kind of on the ground and really getting into the heads of students that you are about to become a member of the oldest alumni association in the world, and that is something to be proud of and something to make use of in the future. Gavin, next slide. So this is a very kind of a high-level summary of our proposals. So there are 5 proposed changes to the structure of the Watt Club and its council, and 5 proposed changes to our processes. And I'll kind of talk through them. So we are proposing that we remove the role of secretary and treasurer, and those responsibilities will be taken on by the Development Alumni Office team. They are very kind of admin heavy. So rather than our kind of voluntary council taking over those roles, it makes sense for them to be taken into kind of a well-structured team that are there and ready to support us. And then Gail, Gavin, Adam and Jen and the wider DEO team do a really good job of doing that anyway. So we're really happy that they've actually already sort of taken on some of that responsibility for us. We want to introduce our branches into council. So in the past, council has kind of been this thing that sits off in the ether and kind of connects in as and when people reach out to us. But we now want to ensure that each of our branches has one representative on council. They have a kind of seat at the table. They can then start to share best practice. They can share their problems and we can help work them out together. And as more branches come online, we'll have a really good kind of best practice guide and a network that they can use to support them and kind of help develop them into the future. We'll also have 2 seats at the table for the Development Alumni Office. They already attend our meetings, but just making sure that we can help tie in the Watt Club strategy, the DEO strategy and the university strategy together to make sure that we're all kind of seeking the same goals is really important. So having them on board will be really helpful. Currently, only the student union president in the UK sits on Watt Club Council. We have 7,000 students studying between our Dubai and Malaysia campuses. They have really vibrant student communities and some really good representatives. So we want to make sure that they have a seat at the table as well. And we want to have a more fluid ordinary member number dependent on the need and strategic objectives of the council. So in the past, we've had kind of a small number of elected members and a small number of co-opted members. We want to remove that election process, and we'll kind of come on to that slightly later on in this slide. But also, people like yourselves who have attended this evening, we had 55 different members of our alumni community apply when we were looking for a new alumni member of court. Those people have a wealth of experience that we could tap into as council and we could bring on board, and they can help us in that advisory role with the university. Mike, was there any changes that you wanted to flag for structure?
I think almost just to echo some of the stuff that Kieran was saying, so this has been very much a multi-year journey, and a great number of people have kind of inputted into this process and helped support us to get to this stage. And I think the way that I'd kind of summarize a lot of what Kieran's been talking through is there's been a huge impact that alumni have had on the university, but a lot of times that's happened very organically and through kind of personal endeavour. And really what we wanted to do with some of these changes is look at how can we bring alumni in and really amplify that impact that they're already having across branches and across a whole host of other areas in the university, either contributing to the university's research agenda or getting involved, doing guest lectures, inputting into industrial advisory boards, a whole host of ways that are really involved. So a lot of the changes here are designed to try and enhance and amplify that impact. So yeah, that's just a couple of snippets there to share. I'll hand back to Kieran now just to talk through some of the other changes.
Thank you very much, Mike. And so moving on to the kind of proposed changes to processes. So the proposal sets out that only the president will be elected by the entire membership. I alluded to earlier, I was elected into this position by about 100 people. I think there was only 142 voters in the last election, which actually cost us about £3,000 to run. So really low kind of turnout. So we're hoping that by having only kind of one election every 3 years, not only do we save costs, but it does allow us to bring in those members of the alumni community who possibly don't want to run an election, but do want to give back and engage with the Watt Club and help support their fellow alumni, which is a very positive move. Ordinary members will be co-opted, so we do currently have a number of members of the council whose election terms will have either just run out or will run out at the end of 2024, so they will obviously stay in their positions until their tenure ends, but we do want to move to co-opting members on, and again that is all about making sure that alumni can get involved and can kind of input into strategic goals of the Watt Club and the university, and we'll do that against a skill matrix depending on kind of the strategic direction and goals at the time. To replace the election for vice president, we'll kind of elect them from within the council. So between the branch representatives and those co-opted members and the president, we'll kind of elect someone to kind of support the president from within. There'll be a limit to overall term length so that no one can serve on council for more than I think it's 10 years. At any one time without a break, and that's just to ensure that we can have turnover and it doesn't kind of turn into the classic kind of old boys club, and we can make sure that there's new blood coming in and new strategic directions, which can help us kind of grow into the future. And the last kind of big process change is to align the AGM with James Watt's birthday, which is tomorrow, and I will come on to that at the very end of this call this evening. We've had to do that this year anyway for a number of reasons. Again, engagement in the AGM is often low. It does normally kind of fall that first week of December when everyone starts having Christmas or festive parties, or kind of has a rush on at work. But also, given the kind of global nature of the university, and as we continue to kind of expand in student numbers at our global campus locations, the DEO who do support us with the AGM every year are actually normally in Dubai or Malaysia at that time of year supporting with their graduations, and then come straight back into the Edinburgh campus graduations in that first week of December. So it makes sense to kind of move it slightly to align with James Watt's birthday, so that not only can we have our AGM, but we can celebrate that in line with our mission. And again, I'll ask if Mike has any further input.
No, nothing more to add.
No,
I think moving to questions.
Perfect. Does anyone have any questions? Again, I'll kind of wait 60 seconds to see if anything pops up. can see I missed a question slightly earlier about, is there a minimum requirement for setting up a branch? I'll quickly answer that one. The very kind of short answer is no. We're really keen to hear from alumni who'd like to set up a branch, especially as if these changes go through, there will be opportunity to actually join council as well. But the DEO can help you kind of, as I said earlier, scout the area to see how many alumni are in your area. There used to be kind of prerequisites in the past, but we're really keen that we get as many branches up and running as possible. So we will support you in growing that in whatever way we can.
Yeah, and a great stepping stone is you don't have to think straight away, jump straight away to a branch. It could be that you think about looking at organising an event within your kind of local area, and there's funding pots available to do that, and then from there it can grow into a branch and be an opportunity to get more people involved. So there's a couple of routes to go down.
Any other questions coming through?
Yeah, constitutional changes can be quite a dry subject for sure.
I think we shall move on. So, like I said, the voting link is in the chat there. If you can vote on both on the AGM minutes, on the financial statements for 22-23 and the budget, and the constitutional changes, that would be really, really helpful. We'll also put out a call now if anyone has any other business they'd like to raise. Perfect. I'll take that as no any other business to raise. As Sharon's just put in the chat there, we will show the results with the vote once everyone's had the chance to. So we'll be sending that out to all of the attendees for this evening. As I mentioned slightly earlier on, we do want to remind you that tomorrow is James Watt's birthday, what we now have coined as Global Watt Day. And our alumni engagement team will be running an online social media campaign targeted at Heriot Watt Global alumni, students and staff. Global Watt Day was first started in 2017 and is part of our constitution. It's celebrated every year and marks the anniversary of the birth of James Watt. And this year's campaign will give over 159,000 global alumni and students and staff an opportunity to connect and celebrate our global Watt community. It's aimed at encouraging a feeling of belonging. So please do start using the hashtag Global Watt Day and kind of include us in any social media that you post. That'd be really helpful. If no one has any other business to call, I will call this meeting to a close. Thank you very much for attending this evening. As I said, we'll be posting the results of the vote once everyone's had the chance to do so. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day, evening or night. Thank you very much.